teaching. This is the second page. Can you still see it in slide form or regular?
The second slide, sir.
Okay, so this is slide already. All right, thank you. So we are talking about 8 factors when we talk about the characteristic of young learners. Mudah-mudahan tidak keliru, itu yang sebelumnya saya kira belum. So there are I think differences among authors when we talk about young learners. For example, Hammer considers young learners from 1 to about 9 or 10 years old. But Ralmi and some other authors evidently say between 1 and 12 years. And I think that is common, and probably most Indonesian authors also show the same. Can be up to 12 years. We still consider young learners. And then adolescents, normally about 13 to 18 or 13 to 17, 13 to 19. And then when one reaches the age of 20, 21, then they are considered adults already. But these learners are still developing. Of course, many aspects of their cognitive capacities get better and better while they are growing up, so that our undergraduate students, I think they still work very well, go faster. And I think you, for S2 students, would be still the same. And probably when you get to S3, depending on your age, I think that will still be okay, but then after that, there could be some degradations. But if you, for example, if now you are still below 24, 25, then after that you go to the S3 program, doctoral program, and before the age of 30, you got your doctors, then I think there is no constraints in developing your capacity, particularly the cognitive capacities. I think you can still have very good memories. The development of your memories can still go very well. Because I felt that I was, in 2000 and, 2000 and, early 2000, year 2000, I started slowing down, but also other aspects are getting better. So probably slowing down in memory, but then I think there is a better capacity in judgment, in wisdom. Memory probably goes down, but and then the other aspects of understanding develop from time to time. So that when you read something, you can understand quickly, but the memory can be lost in a while. Jadi kalau sudah seperti saya itu memahami bacaan cepat, tetapi juga cepat hilang ini. Pemahaman cepat, tetapi kemudian memory-nya itu tidak kuat lama. But when you read again, you can understand it which is different from earlier when I was in my S1. It's difficult for me to understand, but once you understand, then you can maintain it for a very long time. Ya, sehingga misalnya saja ingatan dialog tahun jadi berapa itu? 69. Now, yeah, 40 years ago. Oh, sorry, 50 years ago. Yeah, there can be something that can still be remembered after 50 years. Karena waktu itu ingatannya masih kuat ya. Jadi kalau sekarang ya beberapa jam saja mungkin sudah aus gitu ya. So each factor is important in learning, and that's why consideration on the development of young learners will also be the same. They move on very quickly. So from moment to moment, the language learning, particularly the L1, the first language, there can be speedy progression from time to time. Can be in 2-3 days, suddenly a child acquired new vocabulary, new expressions, yeah, can also understanding, so that they often say something that we don't understand, and that happens to be something important for them. And these are some of the characteristics of young learners. So young learners have a very short attention span. So they have problem concentrating on one aspect of learning, on something. Yeah. So they can be attentive just for a while. Yeah. Moreover, if the activities are not interesting and engaging enough, they will get bored very easily. And some say that the attention span can last for about 10 minutes, and others say then that is shorter. But if I watch my granddaughter, I think this one, interest plays a very important role in maintaining attention span. Yeah, when a child is learning something or is doing something which is of interest, yeah, one can stay there for a long time, even does not want to be disturbed, expecting that other people will also participate in what one is doing, particularly when they are playing. Could be playing with sand, playing with toys, and probably which we have to be concerned with is that when one is playing with mobile phone, particularly on the games, yeah, so that because that can lead to addiction. Jadi tidak apa ya, bukan hal yang sepele ya. Jadi HP addiction, game addiction can be very dangerous because they be carried out until the age of adults. And I think there are adults who are very much addicted can be games or can be some programs in the handphone, so that it's very stressful for them to live or to be without a handphone. Yeah, so that this can be very dangerous, especially when you are working on something serious, particularly when you are studying, because you can forget your study and rather you do what you are doing with the handphone, which might not be related to how you study. Dan ini terjadi betul gitu ya, jadi harus hati-hati, termasuk juga untuk anak kita, anak cucu ya, anak cucu kita, anak cucu saya misalnya. Nah, kalau tidak diingatkan, nanti yang tua seneng karena anaknya sudah bisa main sendiri, jadi tidak merepotkan yang tua, tapi tidak taunya bahwa dia main game yang that can influence also the health of the eyes, because staying in front of a screen for a long time may affect the eyes. Could be, for those who know, can be some kind of radiation, but at least the interest, the extreme interest in something that may make someone forget other things, sehingga perhatiannya hanya pada itu saja, setiap kali langsung ke situ, jadi tidak mau yang lain. Sehingga termasuk mungkin makan dianggap nggak penting, nggak senang makan gara-gara itu. Baik untuk anak maupun kadang-kadang untuk remaja dan untuk dewasa. Second one, young learners are meaning oriented. They may understand what is being said, without necessarily understanding every individual word. They may not only guess and interpret what is being uttered, but they also respond to it with whatever language resources they have at their disposal. So that I think this is very important, meaning-oriented. So we have to understand that despite being silent or not responding, or saying something which we think is not related to whatever we say, that doesn't mean that the child does not know what we are saying, because they orient to meaning. They are meaning oriented. And when they want to say something, they say what they want to say. Whatever language they can express with. But actually they mean something. So that as a teacher or parents, as teachers, as parents, we have to try to get close to the child, to the children, so that we can also learn what this child actually means. And then they may not say anything, but actually they have some understanding. And we recognize what we call the silent period. I think silent period started when a child was born. For a few days after one was born, and then one will try to understand the environment through the silent period. Of course, the silent period can be very, very long. Yeah. But for some, probably only a few months, they start sounding something. Yeah, and probably after 1 year, and then they can say something. Yeah, after a couple of years, they can be very, very talkative, though they have not been able to say things clearly. But some can be fluent in their speech, because we know that they also have different organs of speech. Yeah, they can be those who have very good organs of speech. They can say something clearly, but probably just very few words. Yeah, not saying much, but when they say something, they can say clearly. And there are many who can be very talkative, but it's difficult for us to understand. Yeah. And they also respond to whatever we are saying, yeah, in the language they understand. Yeah. So that I think in this context, once again, we need to get, we have to be willing, yeah, to be close to them so that we can understand whatever they want to say. And probably we keep asking questions, whether it is this, that, or that. Sometimes when it comes to the right thing, then they will have a positive response. They can be happy. The third one is that young learners like to discover things. They are inquisitive. They have high curiosity and enthusiasm. So when they want to know everything around them. And then when that happens, we should also respond positively, because in the past, parents do not like or did not like the children to ask questions or too many questions. Ya, zaman saya masih kecil, kalau banyak bertanya ini, ya nanti kata-kata yang kurang enak, kasar sering-sering muncul dari orang di sekitar kita. Anak kok ceriwis, ngeciwis, apa-apa tanya, diam. Itu lihat itu si X itu diam, dia kan tenang. Ya nggak tahunya bahwa asking questions is important, and asking good questions are very, very important. Jadi ada satu teks itu dalam reading yang membedakan antara anak yang cerdas atau orang tua yang cerdas dan orang tua yang kurang cerdas. In that text, I think that is a text about how the Jewish people educated her son. Yeah. While other mothers or other parents, when they go home, they will ask their child, did you ask questions? at school, or what question did you ask at school, or rather even they say what the marks that you get from school. But this one Jewish mother, every time her son went home, she asked, did you ask a good question today? Did you ask a good question today? Jadi yang ditanyakan itu bukan nilainya berapa, tadi apa yang Anda lakukan, tapi apakah tadi Anda bertanya, apakah pertanyaan Anda tadi bagus? Ya. And finally, that was ended with a conclusion that children who ask questions, moreover, if the questions are good, that will lead the child into critical child, critical children which are now expected of our children and even us. We are expected to be critical. And as master student, you are also demanded to be critical, meeting the level 8 KKNI. Jadi Anda ini KKNI level 9, Indonesian Qualification Framework. Nah, salah satu diantaranya itu yaitu critical thinking itu. Dan ternyata critical thinking itu kalau tadi yang anak Yahudi di New York itu yaitu pertanyaannya, did you ask a good question today? Jadi bukan yang lain-lain, bukan menilainya berapa, tapi apakah pertanyaan Anda tadi bertanya pertanyaan yang bagus. So of course when we talk about a good question, must be something meaningful. So not a display question, but a question which needs even probably to be answered using logics and a deep thinking by the teacher. Jadi kalau siswa bisa bertanya membuat gurunya harus berpikir, nah itu namanya good question. And this kind of children or child will develop themselves into a critical person with critical thinking, and finally develop to be what is now demanded in industry 4C. Industri 4C kan itu, jadi salah satu diantaranya adalah critical thinking. And children tend to discover by themselves rather than being told. Saya kira ini kalau kita amati pada anak seperti itu. Jadi misalnya ini aja, membuka, misalnya beli teh kotak lah misalnya, beli teh kotak. Itu kalau mau misalnya saja sedotannya mau dibantu untuk dibuka, kan nggak mau, dia maunya buka sendiri. Kemudian ketika mau dibantu untuk jubleskan pada minumannya itu, nggak mau juga, dia mau kerjakan sendiri. So that is the sign that children are active, curious, independent, and active, and rather than being told, rather than being assisted, they want to do things by themselves. Sometimes even things that would probably be difficult to do, but they want to do it themselves. Saya menyaksikan sendiri, jadi kalau melihat apa yang dilakukan oleh cucu itu, oh begitu toh. Jadi kalau ada orang yang membantu nggak mau. Ya itu termasuk diantaranya buka botol, pegang sendok, nggak mau diajari, tapi mau pegang sendiri. Nanti asal dia bisa pegang, bisa gunakan, sudah. Kalau pegang HP itu yang tua sudah khawatir nanti tidak jatuh, nanti jatuh. Ternyata tidak. Ya, padahal tangannya kan masih kecil, HP-nya lebar, tetapi ternyata dia bisa, sudah punya cara bagaimana memegang yang aman. So they like to discover things for themselves, having high curiosity, and also self-dependent, having autonomy. Then they also prefer concrete activities, so that in Piaget's cognitive development theory, young learners still developing, still making their way from concrete to abstract thinking. So they like whatever is concrete, though from time to time they will start learning the abstract thinking. So something that we can demonstrate, not something that we talk about. Of course, this is because they are not yet well equipped to learn abstract concepts. Don't talk about grammar rules to them, but just give them examples of the correct way of saying something. Even the correct way of saying something might not always be followed because they have their own concept. And the concept might be the other way around. Yeah, instead of, particularly if one already learns the first language, ya, jadi kalau nanti usianya sudah hampir menginjak SD atau sudah SD, yeah, they often make errors in grammar rules, and instead of saying read book, they say book read. Yeah, that is quite normal because they have their own concept, probably influenced by the first language rules. Dalam bahasa Indonesia kita mengatakan buku merah, sehingga they use their logic. In English, it can be something like that as well. So that book read, not read book. Yeah, but it means that they are learning. So explanation might not be very important for them, but giving a model, so exposed to the language that we want them to learn. So they base their learning from what they hear, they see, and they touch. That's why realia and other media, objects that they can see, they can observe, even they can touch, would be meaningful to them. So that's why in the teaching learning process, we also need this. Yeah. Teaching vocabulary means also bringing some pictures or even real objects. Yeah. If not, then this can be something that, yeah, for example, we talk about fruit. Now we have a lot of fruit in plastic form. Apel plastik, jeruk plastik, melon plastic, and many other things in the form of real thing or imitation. But the shape can be exactly the same as the real one. So that is important. Of course, when real objects getting difficult to bring to the classroom, and then also at the same time, the imagination has grown, the abstract concept has grown, we can use picture. Jadi tadinya memang barang sungguhan, lama-lama barang tiruan dari plastik, but then you can replace it with pictures, so that they can have understanding that the picture on the page is actually has the same meaning as the imitation of the real object that they saw earlier. So this is how we try to bring them from concrete object to abstract concepts. Pada awal ya buah sungguhan kalau perlu kemudian diiris, dibagi-bagikan ya, apel misalnya. Tapi sudah itu bisa tadi dengan plastik. So they start abstracting the concept. Yeah, they start learning that, oh, that fruit, this is also fruit, but not the real one. Yeah, and then when they have learned this, and then we substitute it with pictures. Yeah, and then with pictures followed by the name of the object in the form of writing. Jadi apple, kemudian nanti ada tulisan apple. Ya, sehingga nanti picture of apple, jadi gambarnya, kemudian nanti ada tulisannya di bawahnya apple atau di sampingnya apple. And then later when we use or we want to mean that picture or that thing, instead of using the concrete thing, we can show the words. So the combination of letters. Sehingga nanti apple tidak harus barangnya, tapi tulisannya, kemudian they understand, oh, this is apple. This is how we write apple. So this line of thought, yeah, from concrete to abstract, has to be realized in the teaching learning process of English to young learners. Jadi kalau kita telaten melaksanakan semacam itu from time to time, ya, then I think it will be not too many difficult for us in teaching English to young learners. So, but again, we have to be patient. Ya, kalau ngajar anak-anak tidak perlu tergesa-gesa, ya, sehingga yeah, don't think that the more you teach and then the more they will learn. No, they have their limitation. Yeah, learning go along with their preference, go along with what they are thinking. And then also what we need to learn is young learners are egocentric. Yeah, they want, or one wants everyone to pay attention to them. So in the family, in the house, when we gather, yeah, usually a child will think that he or she is the most important person in the family, so that the others are expected to pay attention to them. When they play, for example, we are expected to be participating in what they are playing. Yeah. Regardless of who the members of the family are. Nah, sehingga kakeknya yang sudah barangkali renta, tetap aja diminta untuk ikut main bola di dalam ruangan misalnya, atau bisa juga di luar rumah. Ya, so that activities that focus on their lives are their cup of tea. What does this mean? Activities that focus on their lives are their cup of tea. What does this mean? activities that focus on their lives are their cup of tea. Okay, so a cup of tea for us is what we drink in the morning, and usually we like that. Yeah, this is of course in the can be in the English culture and American culture, because they drink tea and every day they drink tea or coffee, so they like that, and that is the everyday life. Yeah, jadi activities on their lives, everyday life are what they like. That's why we have to adjust ourselves to that. As teachers, we are expected to do the same. But of course, how many children do we teach? If we teach, for example, 20 children, how can we focus on the lives of the 20 children? So there could be ones who can be served exactly what they want, and there can be others who might not be interested in what the others are doing. That's why this might be one of the challenges of the teachers of young learners. And usually, we would not teach in a big group. Usually we have small groups of 5 to 6 or 10 at the most, so that the teachers can control everyone there or can have access to everyone there. Ideally probably 5 to 6, ya, tetapi realitanya kan tidak seperti itu. So probably in kindergarten, that may happen with, for example, 15 students or 15 young learners, and there are 3 teachers, schoolmaster, and then 2 other teachers. Nah, itu bisa, baru bisa, tetapi yang lainnya kan belum tentu bisa seperti itu. In addition, children under 12 need individual attention and approval from the teacher. Ya, jadi kalau masih di bawah 12 tahun ya gitu, memang kita harus memberikan perhatian penuh. Approval means encouragement. So whatever they are doing, yeah, we are expected to agree, to approve with what they are doing. That we should not too much saying the do's and the don'ts. Do this, don't do that. Do this, don't do that. Nah, itu saya kira tidak bisa untuk anak-anak, because they need approval. So whatever they are doing, more or less, is their right to do. Of course, there can be some restrictions, but there must be some strong reason for that. Yeah, so that we don't give too many prohibition to the children. Young learners are imaginative. So activities that are full of imagination is a source of enjoyment for them. Jadi main-main boneka anak-anak. Jadi ya, kemudian nanti kadang-kadang orang tua dijadikan sapi atau kuda, terus anak duduk di punggung, terus ayahnya jalan di lantai. Because the child imagines that the father is a horse or a cow, and he or she is riding a horse or a cow. Yeah, and that is a source of imagination. Yeah, enjoyment. Yeah, so imagination is a source of enjoyment. So in this context, a teacher should also be able to do things like that. Ya mungkin tidak harus nunggang kuda semacam itu, but something else which stimulate children imagination so that they can enjoy the activities that they have in the classroom or outside the classroom. Ya, sehingga instead of riding a car, they can use, for example, any materials available there. Barangkali ember yang besar, kemudian dikasih tali, diseret, itu mereka sudah senang sekali. Because they imagine riding something, riding a car, riding a train, ya, can be riding a boat, ya, padahal barangnya ember. Yang agak besar itu tali ditarik. Ya. It is sometimes difficult for them to distinguish reality from imagination. Yeah, because but this will satisfy them enough. Hanya memang belum bisa memberikan yang baik gitu ya, tetapi dengan yang apa adanya itu sudah senang. Nah, kalau di desa dulu kan permainan yang hanya cukup dengan sabut kulit kelapa itu ya, dijadikan mainan seolah-olah mendorong kereta, mendorong sepeda, mendorong motor, ya hanya dikasih roda atau mendorong gerobak, hanya dari sabut kulit kelapa itu ya, kulit kelapa, kemudian dikasih roda juga dengan kulit kelapa, disambung dengan kayu atau bambu, udah kemudian didorong, udah senang sekali. Ya, merasakan bahwa dia sudah mendorong mobil, mendorong sepeda atau apapun jadi mainan yang menyenangkan. Yeah, probably you don't experience this because you live in the city, so probably you don't know even the games that children have in the villages. Ya, jadi permainan-permainan yang di desa itu sekarang sudah nggak muncul, bahkan anak-anak desa juga sekarang udah nggak ngerti itu. Ya, hanya beberapa yang orang tua yang masih kreatif, yang tidak membelikan mainan dari toko, tapi dibuatkan di rumah. Yang kemudian anak itu sendiri bisa membuatnya. They learn by imitating adults. Humans imitate and discover things from a very young age. Children acquire communication skills through social interaction. That is in our community. So at home, using the mother tongue. But of course, this will be different from the conditions at school when they have to learn English as a foreign language. That's why functioning as the native speakers should be adults. In this context, teachers. So teachers needs to have good communication skills, yeah, and then through, for example, games, social interaction activities that will involve the children. Because imitation functions and as a learning tool, it is rewarding to use it to teach children new skills, knowledge, and affection. Yeah. Imitating. So humans imitate and discover things from a very young age, so that the teachers have to be able to be models, yeah, so that children will also model the teachers, yeah, and imitate whatever the teachers are saying, whatever the teachers are doing, yeah, behaving, and probably expressing themselves in attitude, and so that basically teachers have to be able to be the model for the affection, for the cognition, and also for the skills in doing something. Jadi, if you can do it, then children will trust you, appreciation given upon you, yeah, because they can get something by imitating what you do in the classroom or outside the classroom, the social interaction. And the implications for the teacher, which are also the crucial points that we have to learn as teachers. Particularly for teachers of English to young learners. So the first one, because of the attention span, short attention span that they have, activities should not take more than 10 minutes to complete. Otherwise, it will be counterproductive, bored, disinterested. Yeah. Unless this is something that is very engaging. Yeah. If you have something very engaging, probably you can have it for a longer time. I remember when I was at SMP, I was usually disappointed, tanda petik ya, disappointed, because of the short period of time for playing athletic games. For example, volleyball, football. Yeah, when we just get engaged, get serious about playing, and then suddenly the time is up. Yeah, so that for the same thing, we have to wait another week. Yeah. This is actually what is expected of us. Yeah. If we can make every lesson interesting, so that the students are waiting for that, yeah, and they are dissatisfied because of the lack of time used. That is what is needed. Yeah, so that before they get bored, the activities is over. So content should be interesting. Topics of education should focus on their lives, related to their lives. Tadi because we talk about ecocentrism, so that the center of the activities, the center of the attention, the center of the interest should be on the children. But once again, satisfying all the individuals might be difficult, but classical interest might be almost the same, so that if we can maintain classical interest, so the class interest, I think that will be okay. Of course, sometimes it is possible to adjust whatever we are doing to the group, yeah, probably the group interest rather than class interest, but the group interest. But individual interest can be done, of course, but of course may not be done all the time because we have so many, well, a great number of students that needs also the same attention, so that, yeah, we have to be able to be wise enough. So one that can be directly used is, for example, praising. When a child performs something good, then you can give them a praise, and that will make them satisfied. And the others will probably do something better in expectation that they will get the same reward. So behaviorism theory, I think, still works in children's education. Jadi reward, punishment, probably not punishment, but rather reward. If one does something good, then you get a praise, saying that's good, excellent, and so on. Or even when they achieve something, you can just give them a sticker. Ya, di bajunya dikasih stiker yang orang ketawa itu ya. Siapkan stiker. Jadi ada yang lucu-lucu. Ya, kalau yang bagus kemudian dapat stiker, then and they will be proud of it and show this to their parents at home. As young learner imitate the teacher, a teacher should be a good model of language use and social behaviors. So a teacher should be a good model of language use. Ya, ini menjadi tuntutan kita sebagai guru. Walaupun bahasa Inggris itu bukan bahasa kita, tapi kalau kita sudah berniat menjadi guru bahasa Inggris, ya mau tidak mau harus berupayalah maksimal. So can be, yeah, all the aspects in the English communicative competence. Ya, jadi dari linguistic competence-nya, discourse competence, then you have the pragmatic competence, and also strategic competence. Itu harus dimiliki dalam berbahasa Inggris, dan tentu saja ya grammatical competence atau linguistic competence itu sangat penting, maka ditaruh di paling atas. Jadi mungkin yang paling jelas bisa didengar orang lain ya pronunciation. Ya, if your pronunciation is good, then probably that will be a good model for the students. Yeah, and then also sentence structure. Kalau sentence structure-nya bagus, harapannya juga bisa nanti mengajar dengan baik. And there are many ways that you can do for the time being, because I think we also have in the pusat bahasa, pusat layanan bahasa itu ada kursus yang dapat diikuti oleh mahasiswa secara gratis, particularly for apa itu yang pro TEYL ya, bukan TOEFL, tetapi lebih hal-hal yang mendekati TOEFL yang dirancang juga oleh teman-teman yang ada di UNY ini, and that will be good, ya, a valid test with valid result, which can be used as one of the requirements to graduate. Karena misalnya yang sekarang TOEFL-nya masih kurang dari 500, nanti kan harus 550 ya, atau minimal 500, walaupun kalau untuk prodi lain mungkin bisa 475, tapi bahasa Inggris kan nggak bisa. Bahasa Inggris 550. Nah, kalau belum, maka ini masanya, waktunya bagi Anda untuk terus meningkatkan diri, gimana supaya TOEFL atau IELTS-nya itu tinggi. Ya, bagaimanapun juga, walaupun misalnya tidak akan melanjutkan kuliah ke luar negeri, ini kan bisa sebagai salah satu alat introspeksi kita. Nah, kalau bahasa Inggris kita kurang baik, ya it means that we have not met the one of the teachers competencies. Salah satu syarat kompetensi kita itu ya bahasa Inggris harus baik. Ya, bisa dibuktikan dengan apa saja, mau dengan TOEFL, mau dengan speaking, mau dengan writing. Ya, there are ways that we can use to assess the level of our English, the quality of our English mastery. Children respond to meaning and pick up language through listening and speaking. Yeah, so they listen to what they hear, be it expressions by someone, or can also be recorded materials. So they respond to meaning. And also learn the linguistic form through listening and also through speaking. And these two skills are actually crucial, because when you are able to listen well and understand well, then that will be the the investment that you can use to express yourself in speaking. And so is reading and writing. Reading ini kan sebagai modal. Kalau kita tidak banyak membaca, ya tentu jangan terlalu berharap bahwa tulisan kita akan menjadi baik. Because we use what we have read in writing. We use what we have heard in listening to be able to speak fluently. Since children like playing, discovering and using their imagination, the activities that focus on making things, drawing, problem solving, singing, playing games can be very helpful. Yeah, so activities that make them move, that make them say something, singing misalnya kan, or drawing, and games of course can be very helpful in developing their language ability. Classroom should be colorful and spacious enough to enable moving around freely. Yeah, where possible, classroom should be colorful and spacious. And I think in kindergarten, particularly kindergarten, I haven't seen much in primary school except in some private primary schools. Ya, kalau saya kira kalau TK sudah banyak, TK yang temboknya dicat warna-warni, di dalamnya juga banyak barang-barang warna-warni. Tapi kalau di SD itu baru beberapa SD unggulan lah yang di dalam kelasnya itu ada, terutama untuk kelas bawah, yang dicat warna-warni, kemudian ada gambar-gambar yang terkait dengan pelajaran, dan juga ada gambar-gambar yang terkait dengan character education. Now, it should be like that, and we have to provide those. Room has to be spacious because they need to play, so that they can move around freely. So as we know that children like playing, so we have to provide accommodation for playing. And children should work in groups in stress and anxiety-free atmosphere. If they have to work individually, or probably even in pairs probably is still better, yeah, than individually, because they may get stressed, they may get anxious when they have to work individually. But working in groups, in a class or small groups, would make them less stressful. Yeah. So because there are other people, for example, who can be working together in doing the task. And in conclusion, young learners require a highly skilled teacher, as young learners have difficulty understanding abstract concepts. Tadi skilled teacher, bagaimana membawa dari yang konkret itu ke yang abstrak. Salah satu contoh tadi, misalnya dari apel, kemudian nanti apel dari plastik, habis itu nanti gambar, habis gambar nanti tulisan, sehingga mereka bisa paham bahwa tulisan apel itu maksudnya apple. Yeah, before learning the individual alphabet, they already have a picture and the word apple. Then they, you can let them to analyze later on. Jadi nanti melalui analisis mereka belajar konsep ABCD itu, tapi tidak tiba-tiba ABCD, ya. Because kalau zaman saya dulu kan memang selalu mulai dari abjad ABCD Hono Coroko, jadi baru belajar kata-kata, baru mungkin melihat contoh barang. Ya. But now we have to do it the other way around, from the concrete to abstract. That rooms must enable easy moving around, ya, tadi sudah, and that teacher must create a stress-free atmosphere. Yeah, so stress-free atmosphere. There is no condition, situations that give a threat to the learners, to the young learners. They must feel free, they must feel independent. They are not afraid of anything in the classroom. That by what is meant by stress-free atmosphere can be from the teacher and also from other students, because each student is egocentric. Yeah, so for example, borrowing something from the neighbors, yeah, can also detract the students' attention. Yeah, then they don't like. Yeah, so from time to time, this must be instilled in the children, that borrowing, exchanging, yeah, is something that is common in the society. Sharing, for example, is something expected in the real life. Jadi kalau dari anak-anak sudah dibiasakan sharing, kalau punya mainan ya dibiarkan anak lain ikut memanfaatkan, saya kira itu akan bagus. Walaupun pada awal itu memang ya itu tadi, karena anak itu egois sehingga awal itu barangkali keberatan, tapi kemudian dari waktu ke waktu dibiasakan. Atau dibiasakan suruh memberi sesuatu kepada orang lain atau pada temannya. So that the spirit of sharing will develop in the children or in the child. Yeah, and then when they get to school, borrowing, sharing would be something usual, something common, because that has been practiced at home. Tanpa begitu nanti anak itu menjadi egois kalau mainannya dipinjam oleh temannya, nanti kemudian nangis dan sebagainya. Apalagi kemudian kalau orang tuanya juga nggak sadar, nggak paham bahwa itu hal yang wajar pada anak, sehingga akan sangat defensif, membetulkan anaknya untuk tidak meminjamkan mainannya kepada yang lain. Ya, sehingga kemudian jiwa sosialnya juga akan nggak ada. Well, that's it. So in conclusion, that in teaching young learners, you have to give a lot of help. Yeah. On the one hand, it is scaffolding is giving help. So when they are unable to do something, you have to help them. When they have problem socializing with the other friends, we have also to give some encouragement. But those who have probably done something expected, then encouragement to continue what they are doing is very important. Encouragement can be in the form of praise, saying good, great, a good boy, and so on, so that the children will keep doing, keep performing, or showing behaviors which are good for themselves and also for the others. So scaffolding and encouragement are very important.